Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, your go-to place for everything Rocket League with your hosts, K-Cube, AJ Binky, and Red. So lean forward, lock in, and get ready to go Boost Over Ball.
Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle K-Cube, and today I'm joined by Red. What's up, man?
Howdy. How we doing?
A little bit of a late night recording for you guys, coming to you on Tuesday the 14th, before this episode goes live on the 15th. But today we'll be talking about NA Open Qualifier number 5. We'll talk about the implications of what these results mean, talk about some curses, and where we sit for our major number 2 spot. And then we'll jump across the pond to talk about the EU qualifier and finish off by taking you around the world. So a lot of interesting results, some very surprising results, and then, some not so surprising results. But you ready to jump right in?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, well, jumping over, starting in North America here. In our Swiss stage, our team's going 3-0 are Space Station Gaming and M80. Swiss M80 is back in full force here. Our team's going 3-1 are G2 Stride, Gen G, and OG. And our teams that are going 3-2 and just squeaking into top 8 are Shopify Rebellion, Cloud9, and Dignitas. Our teams going 2-3 and just missing out are Luminosity, TSM, and the Snowmen. Teams going 1-3 are NRG and Moist Esports and Nether Lamera Canada. And our last but not least, our teams that got swept out 0-3 are BDW and Spate Esports. Was there anything here that stood out to you about these teams that and their finishes in Swiss?
I think the biggest one that stood out, although M80 doing well in Swiss isn't that unexpected, it's the fact that they beat G2 and Gen G. So they 3-2 G2, and then they swept Gen G to go 3-0, which is kind of crazy. It wasn't really expecting that from them. Otherwise, the rest of this kind of played out like you expected to. Snowman falling off pretty hard there, unfortunately. Going from top 4 to not even making top 8 is a little rough there for them, but such is the Swiss stage.
Indeed. Good to see, your Gen G kind of regains and takes down Snowman in Game 5. A rough kind of finish for TSM as they fall, their 3 losses. They fall in Game 5 to Space Station. They get swept by G2, and they fall in 5 to Dignitas. So tough break for them. Luminosity also going down in Game 4 in Round 5 to Cloud9. So, that's kind of, in my opinion at least, the teams that are, could be top 8, although with the emergence of Dignitas and Cloud9, we'll talk about them more here in a minute, but, that's it's going to be harder and harder to get into this top 8.
Absolutely. Going on to playoffs here, we have OG versus Gen G, Space Station versus Dig, M80 versus Cloud9, and G2 versus Shopify. You want to run us through how those matchups went?
Yeah, so we have Space Station taking down Dignitas in a 7-game thriller of a series. We have OG taking down Gen G 4-2. We have Cloud9 taking down M80 4-2. We have G2 sweeping Shopify Rebellion. And then in our top 4, we have Space Station taking down OG 4-2. And we have G2 taking down Cloud9 in Game 7 before G2 takes down Space Station in Game 7 to win yet another major for them. But before we talk about the win, before we talk about Space Station's run, we have to talk about the curses that were in play here in round 1. So, first and foremost, Percy of Cloud9 had a career results of 0-14 in quarterfinals top 8 matches in his career, right? So he's never made a top 4 in RLCS, and obviously it's becoming a bigger and bigger storyline as we continue further on in the season, but M80 has yet to win a quarterfinals match. Being dubbed by the desk, being dubbed by a lot of people Swiss merchants. They look to try to right the ship here, especially after beating Cloud9 earlier in Swiss. So what are your thoughts on this one?
It's from from a third party's perspective, it is a tough situation to be an M80 fan, M80 player, M80 coach, because you're doing everything right until Saturday. I don't know what it is about Saturday. Maybe it's just the off day. Maybe we're not used to having to come to work on Saturdays, but I don't know. It is a tough situation because they look fantastic. Swiss Blade. I mean, they look easily like a top four team in America. But then they get to the playoff stage, they get to top eight, and just completely shifts. I don't want to make this sound like I'm trashing Cloud9, but going into that matchup, you're thinking this 2-4-1, if even for M80, realistically. But at the same time, you're like, okay, it's M80. How are they going to choke this? And well, they choked it all right. And I don't know if this is something you need to make a team change. I don't know if it's a coach change. I don't even think on Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, like Cloud9 takes the game 1 4-1. You're thinking, uh-oh, this could be it. And M80 rifles back with a 3-1 win and then a 7-0 destruction. Cloud9 takes their timeout and wins 3 straight. I just
Yeah.
like at what point, like, Cloud9 is not a offensive powerhouse. They're going to grind you and they're going to like out defend you, right? And they're going to score on counterattacks when you send that third man up too aggressively to try and finally get your goal. And it backfired for them in game 3, right? When they lose 7-0, but they really figured it out. And I don't even know if you can call it, a surprise. I mean, it's certainly an upset, right? But like, it's not really an upset.
But I just did the math here real quick. This just shows how crazy this series was. Cloud9 win this series 4-2 with a -1 goal differential. -1. You won a series 4-2 with a -1 goal differential. What?
I mean, that 7-1 doesn't really help them at all.
Yes, but at the same time, like, what?
Yeah, but
It is tough to be an M80 fan right now. I'll tell you that.
it certainly is. But a fantastic run from Cloud9. Unfortunately, it ends in Game 7 in the semifinals to G2, who I think were a better team. But, Cloud9 certainly seemed to be on the up. They looked good. They seem to be rocking on all cylinders, and we'll talk about them here in a second in our rankings once we talk about the rest of the stuff. But the other nod I gotta give in this playoffs is towards Space Station, right? Taking down Dignitas, taking down OG, taking G2 to 7. They, after losing Arsenal, I was a little bit concerned for them last season, but it kind of seems to me that they're a high floor, low ceiling team, right? They're not going to pop off and absolutely run the show against anybody, but they're going to be in every single series they play, and it shows, right? The Chicago Hawks or LJ connection is starting to ramp up. They're starting to be more consistent. The defense is there. They're starting to score more goals. They're looking dangerous, and I'm very excited. They couldn't have picked a better time to be pouring it on.
Yeah, honestly, like, Space Station, almost similar situation to M80, where if they don't run into Gen G, they're a top 4 team, easy. Even while they're running into Gen G, they were a top 4 team in my opinion. But we can't forget OG Esports taking down Gen G 4-2. The old guys have it still. They are still able to compete. I mean, that series, OG looked phenomenal. That series, probably the best I've seen OG play in a while.
That was a Nolly peak if I've ever seen one.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it is nice to see OG still able to compete after a subpar performance at the last major. It is good to see them still going strong in the regionals.
Yeah, 100%. But a massive shout out to Space Station, and like we've talked about in pretty much every qualifier this whole season, right? In NA, your entire goal of Swiss is to not run into G2 or Gen G. And in EU, in the past at least, it's been to not run into Karmine Corps or BDS. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit once we jump over to Europe. But Space Station this time are able to avoid them, and they make a grand finals. Pretty convincingly.
Absolutely. And just a quick update on how this goes for rankings. Standings going to the next major, going into Landon. We'll kind of talk about Worlds as well here in a second. So G2 leads the way with 36 points. Gen G is the tied for second with Space Station at 28. Cloud9 and OG are tied for fourth with 20. Snowman fall just behind with 18, followed by a two-way tie between M80 and Shopify. So still very close, but it's starting to look like it's just a fight for who gets that last spot again.
Yeah, and with G2's win over Shopify, their sweep, they are the first team to clinch their world championship spot. They obviously still have a lot left to play for, right, for seeding and, what seed they come in NA and in the world based on their number of points. So a lot to fight for them. But, it's certainly, again, like you said, shaping up to be a close race between Cloud9, OG, Snowmen, and then the way, unfortunately, the way M80 is going, I don't think that they're really much in this race anymore. So it kind of seems to me, at least, to be a 3-horse race here for this fourth spot.
I agree.
But with that, you wanna you wanna run down the teams that are making our top 16 for EU?
Sure. Let's see if we'll play a fun little game here. Spot the difference. All right. So teams making top 16 in EU, we have Jobless, Team BDS, Oxygen, Gentlemates, Resolve, that's Gridserve Resolve, Vitality, Luna Galaxy, Belagol, La Masia, Valiant, Top Cougars, Ford, Low Block, Team 3, and Daystar. Now, you might be wondering why I said spot the difference. Well, there was a name in there that is not where it should be. And the name that we're missing is Karmine Corps. That's right. Karmine Corps did not make top 16. Don't worry, you don't have to pinch yourself. This is the real world. Karmine Corps did not make top 16. They fall to SA in the upper bracket 1-3 again. And then they lose in game 5 to Top Cougars in the lower bracket. Kyle, I can't believe what I'm reading, but it's on the screen in front of me.
So the the fallout from this is tremendous, right? So they make their spot, they clinch top 16, and Top Cougars clinch their top 16 by knocking out Karmine Corps, right? That's a huge win for them. That's Acro relating wave and Simas, Simas formerly coming over from Solary, playing with Chaussette and K-Dop. So, big win for them and Gregan coaching over there. But this effectively eliminates Karmine Corps from major number 2.
Yeah, there is a crazy scenario where they make it. They need to obviously most likely win, if not at least second place in the next regional, along with pretty much the 6 teams ahead of them for the last spot to just have the worst regionals they've ever had. With Karmine Corps getting locked out here, I mean they're locked at 1 point, which drops them to 9th in the standings. Teams like Ford, Team 3, BDS, Luna Galaxy, Jobless, all those teams are still in the top 16 and are able to earn more points, increasing that lead. I mean, it is not confirmed. It's still mathematically possible, but I wouldn't be betting on Karmine Corps.
Yeah, so they need basically a win in regional 6, and they need the teams that are ahead of them to do very well and everyone else to do very bad. So, again, for the people in the back, I would say it's probably about a 90% chance that Karmine Corps does not make the trip to London.
Oh, yeah, I think we'll just say our favorite sentence here. That was not on our bingo cards.
No,
If it
not
was,
at all.
you're lying and quit lying.
Yeah. So I mean, there's going to be massive fallout from that, right? And there's been a lot of discussions about it's the format's fault. Carmine Corps should just be better, and both of these things can be true. But in my opinion, this is a conversation for another day. Potentially for an interview we may have lined up for next week for episode 100. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But truly shocking to see Carmine Corps miss out on a main event.
Absolutely. The conversation we'll have next week, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it's a rough day to be a part of the Blue Wall.
It is indeed. But now that we have the massive elephant in the room out of the way, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on about EU, about NA, before we jump around the world?
I don't think so. I think we'll need to have a discussion later as well. Is this EU depth or EU inconsistency? I was doing some looking at this earlier. You have teams that have earned points this major. So I guess this split, right? EU has 31 teams that have earned points for this major. For North America, there's been 42. So it's interesting to think about how we want to perceive this, but that'll be a conversation for another day. Let's go ahead and start looking around the world.
Okay. Well, we'll start off in OCE, and we have for qualifier number 5, we have our teams making the top 16 as Power, Kib Gang, Exo Clan, Ground Zero, Pioneers, HSP, Chiefs Gaming, FIZ6 Gaming, NTV, Soja's Henchmen, Gaming Gamers, Knick-Knack, Tonka Trucks, Ginji, Locked In, and Composure. So we got to do it. You got a best name in there?
I'm a fan of Soja's Henchmen.
I think it's pretty good.
Or Tonka Trucks.
Yeah,
always got to go with the Tonka Trucks.
Tonka Trucks is mine as well. And then you got a winner out of this top 16?
I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory here, although, I've seen crazier stuff at this point now, especially. But Power, I think, is still my shoe-in for the winner for this next regional.
I would have to agree, although a nod, maybe second place for Chiefs. They've been kind of on the upswing, but I think Power still takes it from them.
Agreed. Moving on here, we got Sam. Teams that made the top 4 were Crew, Furia, Ninjas in Pajamas, and Secret. But surprise, surprise, we have something a little different here in Sam. Grand Finals, Ninjas in Pajamas take down Furia 4-1. Definitely a surprise to myself and probably a surprise to you, K-Cube, on that result there.
Yeah, I think both of us predicted Furia to take this one again. We kind of thought it's their region to lose, but credit to Ninjas in Pajamas, a great showing for them, a big win, and they certainly they could use those points to help solidify their major spot with 2 Sam teams headed to London here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think this makes Ninja in Pajamas the new numero uno. I still think Furia has that locked down for Sam. However, if Ninja Pajamas continue up this pace, I could start entertaining it.
Yeah, and that win moves them into a tie for second place, with the tiebreaker going to them currently, and taking up second place in Sam to take that major spot. As of right now, at least.
It's going to be interesting.
It certainly will. But moving on now to MENA, we have our teams making the top 4. Anything the former Rule 1 roster, and Nuepo and Okala did play under the banner. There was a thought that potentially that Okala did not play in the qualifier leading up to this. But he did, as far as I know, he did play in the matches, like in the main event. No, it was actually Mesho. So Ocala did not play. So a team of Nuepo, Venom, and Mesho, their sub, played in this one, making a top four alongside Falcons, Twisted Minds, and R8 Esports, with our grand finals of being Team Falcons taking down Twisted Minds 4-2.
Yeah, not much of a surprise there. We did see Falcons end up losing that game in Swiss, but as we can see, they got right back into form and handled the business.
In
So nothing too crazy from Mina.
Yeah, no, pretty much a lot of the same that we've been seeing.
Moving on here to APAC, we got our 16 teams making the top 16. Elevate, Leafishy, Detonator, Overlooked, Gaming Gladiators, Dark Rift Esports, Sailing Esports, Permita All Stars, Triple Jawa, Biryani Sushi, The Court, Eminem, Grace's Blaze, Nimt 55, Dreams to Legends, and Redline. So, as always, what's the best name we got here, Kyle?
I'm going Triple Jawa.
Triple Jawa. I do like the Triple Jawa. I do think I have to stick with Le Fishy. I'm a little. It's just I like it. It's nice. It's simple.
Yeah, they're my number two choice. It's a we've seen them a lot, so I thought I'd give it. Triple Jawa's a new one that we haven't seen in a while. I thought that was pretty good.
There's one thing I wanted to check here real quick if I can scroll through and find it. Oh, okay, so that was we'll talk about that later. But winner, I think again just got to go with Elevate. They've looked in form and they continue to do the business.
I would agree. Dropping 0 games in top 32 qualifier, I see no reason why they won't continue their dominance in this region so far. And then our last but not least, the last region we got on the docket for around the world is SSA, and we have a top 4 of Team Mobula, Snake's Den, Astronic Skill Quest, and Limitless, with a grand finals of Limitless Mobula, where Mobula is able to win again, 4-2, and kind of take a little bit of a stranglehold on this SSA region and their one major spot.
Yeah, it's beginning to look more and more likely that you will not actually see a true SSA team at the major. Mobula currently having a 12-point lead on second, which is Astronic Skill Quest, and then a 16-point lead over Limitless. So, as long as Mobula perform like they have been, getting at least a top 8, they pretty much secure the major spot. So, unfortunate, but again, I'm gonna keep saying it. Hopefully, this pushes the SSA region to improve.
I guess EU is going to get their 5th spot.
I guess they are. Speaking of EU, this is a great segue. I wanted to do a quick shout out. So we had we had another female Rocket League player qualify for the European regional. I think the last time this happened was Karma, maybe.
Yes.
Alems qualified in the European regional. I believe their team, if I can find them, they're under La Masia. So great to see that. Love to see a little more diversity in the community, not just in the caster side, but in the player side. So props to them, and best of luck in this coming regional. You can say you did better than Carmine Core. So.
Oh, those jokes are not going to get old.
Oh, never, never.
So does that make NRG better than Carmine Core? They actually made top 16.
I don't know if we'll go that far. That one hurts to say a little bit.
It certainly does. But another massive congratulations to Alems. Like you said, it's always fantastic to see more diversity, to see more people playing, see more people in the game. For women who are currently playing Rocket League, it's cool to see someone that you can more easily relate to playing playing at the highest level. So this can only mean good things for the esport, for Rocket League, and for esports in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. I
But
do believe that is all we got today.
it is. Was there anything else that you had to add on around the world, on Rocket League, on anything in general?
Just Rocket League, don't ever change. Keep up the chaos. I like it. I love it. It's perfect. It makes
We're
it entertaining.
we're here for Team Chaos, and for those that I'll give a little sneak peek. We're feeling a little saucy today, right? For episode 100, we got a special guest coming to you. We're going to be sitting down with Corelli of the Luminosity team stream, former RLCS caster, and more. This is going to be an exciting episode, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So, if you listen this far, that's your little present for sticking with us till the very end. But with that, we'd like to thank you so much for listening. We'd like to please remind you to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts. Rating us those 5 stars really helps us grow our show and continue to pump out as much and the best content that we possibly can. We'd also like to ask you to follow us on Twitch, our TikTok, and our merch store. We have new items that we've added. So many different colors of t-shirts that are ready for the summer. They're comfort colors. They're very, very nice t-shirts. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thanks for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website at boostoverball.com.